All right, guys, welcome back. I am Mellowseven. This is Football Manager 2018. I'm going to lock my chair in place so I don't slide back there. All right, we are recording. I got everything going, I think. This was not the video I planned on recording first today, and this was not the moment I planned on hitting record. But things being what they are, they are. So the reason why I've hit record just now, even though we're 5 days away from the match I plan on recording, is that because a number of offers have come in for Herxdahl here. I've gone ahead and offered him a replacement contract, which is essentially a youth hot prospect, non-contract. We don't pay him anything. We'll see if we can keep him. I've had a number of players approach so far this season, all of which have turned down the contracts to go elsewhere. I'm assuming, hopefully, that part of that is because we have done a pretty good job within our dynamics. Match cohesion's average, locker room atmosphere is very good. And you can see we're slowly bringing up the leadership support. We're still at poor. We still have a low reputation, but we are beginning to build some relationships. Some of these things are either going to work themselves out or they're not. We're going to find out. I don't really mind if we lose Pellegrino. Berg is actually getting a chance with the first team, so that's fine. We're going to work our way out with that. Hovik, he is what it is. Pretty decent chance he's not going to survive this season either. Borko, probably not going to survive this season. So if we can make it through the season, we can, if we haven't made some of these players happy, we're going to try to make him happy. We don't really have to worry about him because he has to make the training list and he hasn't done that yet. So if he doesn't start training better, we're not going to have to worry about him. Pellegrino, like I say, Borko and Hovik could all leave. So that might not turn out to be terrible. We'll just kind of have to see. We can look at happiness and see that for the most part, we're doing pretty good. Borko's unhappy. Mueller's content at the moment. Concerned but content. And Berg is content as well. And Pellegrino's slightly unhappy. So those are all our troublemakers. Now, let's look to see. Well, first of all, let's look at tactics. Don't look at this quite yet. Let's go ahead. We're going to come up to here. We're going to go Lin best position. I had changed to this position right here. And I had done that because I was beginning to lose faith that we had the ability to play the counter. As much fun as the counter is, our defense is just too poor. And you can see we have some chunks of field that are not bright green. Quite a few of them. Now, Golden FM originally developed this particular formation purely in an attempt to make the entire screen green with the team he had, which was Manchester. It worked. He was able to take this over to Napoli with some very minor changes, and because he has a lot of money and a lot of very good players at his disposal at Napoli as well, he was able to work this position, continue to work this formation as well. Now, the question is, was the formation just inherently good, or was it good because he had the players to make it good? In this case, it's because he had the players to make it good, and with those players, maybe he doesn't go undefeated, but he could probably run a number of different tactics and still have done very well and won. Now, partly he has some great team instructions as well. It's a very fun tactic to watch, which above all probably trumps almost everything, but not if we get fired. So I went to this. Now what I did was I went to our squad and I went to essentially, I built a screen like this. This is the default reports, I believe. And it tells us what their best role is. It tells us what their best position is and what their best duty is, according to the coach, and their ability. So I sorted by ability, current ability. I looked at what we had, and I just worked our way down the list and ticked the check boxes till we ended up with a tactic that looked like this. Not necessarily with these players in it, but this is what we ended up with. And we did okay. So as you can see, the last match we saw was Brumunddal. I think I played Aelslund with this. Even though we won these, I was just looking at stats and numbers and thinking and going. I was digging through the analyst stuff, and I said, you know what, we're going to play it a little safer. Aelslund is a very good team, and in fact, I believe they're a Premier team. They're a Norwegian Premier Division team. So we lost, but we lost 0-1. I don't remember what our stats were, and of course, as we learned, it's kind of a pain to get to. There we go. Nope. Come on. It flashed. Why didn't it go? There we go. We had 4 shots on target. They had 5. They had 2 clear cut, 3 half. We had 1 and 1. So possession was equal. They didn't get a lot of corners. We did foul them a bit more. You know, they had better players. You know, I mean, that's what it comes down to. They had better players who did a little bit better. But you can see our passes were good. Our tackles were okay. Defensively is a huge issue for us. We're a very short team. We're a weak team. And we don't tackle very well. So these numbers all told, I was pretty happy with. And so I decided to stick with it. And in fact, if we check our team report here, let's look at our comparison. We look at our physicals here. Our jumping's okay, but we're really weak. And if we look at our technical, you can see our heading is really poor as well. And somewhere in here is our tackling is near the bottom too. So, and our first touch, and our finishing, and our crossing. Technically, we're very bad. Mentally, we've got some highlights, and we're not terrible except for concentration, which is why I do the concentrate a lot in the middle of games. And physically, we're a bit down as well. Fitness, strength, and acceleration primarily. So, anyway, but all told, you know, I wasn't unhappy. You know, we did okay in this first half. We were where we needed to be. You know, those are cup games, but, you know, we had 2 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws. I said we needed to have a win, a loss, and a draw, essentially out of every 3. We needed to walk with 4 points out of every 3 matches to be about where we needed to be at the end of the season to avoid relegation. So since I made that change, we had this cup. We went on to play Alta and just a 0-0 draw. We're going to see probably more lower scoring games if we would have stuck with that, because it was more defensive. It was a 4-1-4. So, you know, we had 4 defenders and an attacking or a defensive midfielder and 4 midfielders and just the 1 striker. So we were, as a whole, balanced back towards, you know, defensiveness. Now, I had these guys on support, but defend. I think this was on defend as well. I guess it shows support now, so maybe it was on support. But he's a ball-winning midfielder. Support, and then we had these 2 on attack. I really expected that we were going to stay pretty defensive. So I was shocked when we came out and we just destroyed Skeed 4-0. You can see here, Bourbon, this was a set-piece goal, which we're going to get some of those. A couple of these might have been. Rune got a goal, and Mads Pedersven got 2 goals, got a brace. And you can see we played great. Herksdahl, which is, I believe, who the bid is in for right now, played spectacular in 8.7. Bourbon played a 9.3. We've moved him up into the starting lineup. I looked at his stats, just defensive straight stats, and I think he's really good for what we wanted to be, despite the fact he's only like a 2-star, which is why he'd been sitting, because I think initially I looked at the numbers and then I got caught up in the star rating and kind of lost touch. But I think he's going to be okay. Now, part of this 9.3 is because he got a goal. Yeah, you know, offense played obviously well. We got 4 goals. We followed that up with a 1-0 loss against Kjelsås, who was, I believe, second in the league at the time and is still second in the league. So, again, that's a reasonable loss. We don't expect to win those. The fact that we lost these 2 matches just 0-1, despite the fact that we were vastly outclassed, I think says something about it. But then I got up this morning, and I don't know how many other people watch Bust the Net, but I do watch Bust the Net, and probably tactically and statistically within this game, he's probably the smartest person I've seen videos or read about. I've seen some other people on like FM Scout that appear to really have their shit together. But Bust the Net seems, and that's where I discovered Bust the Net initially. But he seems to be kind of a class of his own as far as this goes. I recommend you watch his channel if you're a Patreon. He has a book. I do not think it's been updated for FM18 yet, but it was excellent for FM17. And if you're a Patreon subscriber, you get access to that book. So I do recommend you go check out Bust the Net if you're interested tactically and the numbers that go behind this game. Because like I said, he's amazing. So he had a video out today called Squad DNA for FM 2018. And we went through that, and he was talking about specific roles or specific stats that he looks at. So let's go ahead. We're going to just pick our team here. And he went through specific stats that he looks at for each kind of role within the team. So if we go here and we look at defensive abilities, this is the order he looks at things in, starting with position. Okay, so if we check a look at position our team, we see that Carlisle and Bourbon are our two best positionally on the team. Oddly enough, Bourbon had a good game last match. So I lucked into that. And these are kind of the stats as we look around. And there's a couple reds in here, and there's one red in here. But overall, and then our other defenders, defensive midfielders, centers, Hogginson is the next one down. And his positioning is 3 less. Now, there's no red here, okay, which is Hogginson, again, was another player that had a low star rating but played very well for us until he was injured. And that's because there's no red here. All of these stats he's pretty decent at, and he's one of our better headers in the middle, which is why he was scoring all those goals. That's a 9, that's a 12. If he gets back, maybe he squeezes his way back and in front of Bourbon. But for right now, I have Carlisle and Bourbon as our starters. Hogginson would be our primary sub if he was healthy, and Hovik, which is our next one down, would be our next sub. And again, Hovik, no red in here. His positioning just happens to be 8. So we take a little bit of a hit on determination. We take a little bit of hit on strength. Now, if we're losing a game and we need some determination to come back, we're down, maybe we put Hovik in. Also because he has really good leadership. Although Bourbon might have leadership as well. He's got 17 leadership and 16 teamwork as well. So, and Hovik 17 and 16. So Bourbon, because he's only 25, if we can keep him playing well and we don't upgrade, although we probably will, he might be a great long-term team leader for us. Because, the great stats for that, leadership and teamwork, he's nailed it. And at the moment, he's a starter. Although it does say backup up here for him. And we probably are going to need to tweak these a little bit. I already started on that. So that's our defensive duties. Now, I've also, instead of goals, I put in goal mistakes. So how many mistakes have they made that have led to a goal? And we've only got one of those so far. That was Ingebrigtsen. And I believe that was in one of those games we lost 1-0. I don't remember which one it was. But that was it. So we lost on just a stupid mistake in front of the goal. He just passed it right to the guy in front of the goal and put it away. But I think defensively we need to look at that more so than mistakes. How many critical mistakes have they made that have led to that? I've got assists on there. They may be making assists out, but not really. Realistically, we could probably remove this one from this screen. It was just kind of on the base screen that was built and it didn't get changed. So then we look at support duties. So we're looking at positionally and off the ball. So support has to be able to defend and attack. That's their job. They do both things. They have to do transitions. So we want to look at how that works. Now, I'm just for the sake of this clarity, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to turn off defenders. We're going to look at defensive midfielders, and attacking midfielders. There we go. These are, we'll put on, actually, we're going to put on our strikers too. So these are our support guys. So we can look at off the ball here. We can look at positioning, whichever one we want to sort by. We'll go ahead and start here. And we see that Monson is great positionally and off the ball. Good composure, determination, decisions, work rate. And he's got really good passing for us. The only person who passes better is Herkstall, who, again, there's a bid for. Monson is a little bit of a problem for me figuring out where to play him because he's one of our best defensive position players. If we looked at, he's one of our best supporting. So if we go back to defensive, wherever the heck that was, you see he's at the top of our list for defenders. He's at the top of our list for supporters. And if we go to attackers, he's pretty close to the top of the list for attackers too. So he could be played just about anywhere. And so where he gets played depends more on where we have weaknesses elsewhere. That's essentially what we're going with that. But he's suspended for the next game, so it won't matter quite so quickly. Let's go back and look at support. And so we've got essentially these orders. So we've got position, off the ball, concentration, which is a problem on our team, I believe, as much as determination. Determination, we at least have a few high. We've just got a bunch of really bad. Whereas concentration, we really don't have any good. We've got some that doesn't suck. And then a fair amount that does, but that's something we have to get better at. But anyway, regardless of how we do this, and I chose to kind of look at it this way, but we kind of went through. So Berg and Dolly, they're both listed as key players, as was Ingebrigtsen. I've already knocked Ingebrigtsen down to first team. So we've got to find a way to get Berg and Dolly in. And then here I added assists and chances. So this is chances created. Now you're going to see here Rune creates a lot of chances for us. And are we still on? We still have attackers on there. I thought... and Carbon. Carbon creates chances for us. So these are our two primary creators on the team at the moment. And he not necessarily leading in assists, although he's close. Dolly's got 4, but he does create the most chances, and that's a weakness of this team. So, well, not a weakness. We've had games where we've created plenty of chances and we just can't finish. I mean, that's it. But so we've got to find out ways to get Berg and Dolly. Rune obviously on the side. Who would I end up putting on the other side? We'll have to look in just a second. So these were kind of our top support guys. And then we look at our attacking guys, and we can look at attack duties. Now, off the ball is the leader here. If they're not in the position to take advantage of that pass, that vision, that whatever, then it doesn't matter, right? So, again, Adi Berg, our best attacking player. He's great off the ball. He makes great decisions. Determination's a weak place, but work point, vision, balance. You could, because of this here, make up for a little bit of these and say Dolly's our best attacking player as well. So that's something you have to do. Now, in this case, Berg's not comfortable as an attacking midfielder. Dolly can play both, so it makes it easy. We run him as our mid-center. We run him as an attacking mid-center. We get them both in. We could have run him just as a straight mid-center. That's definitely a possibility, and maybe we'll go back to that. We'll have to look. At the moment, I've slid him up to an attacking midfield center. That's just kind of how I played it, just to help link the front to the back a little bit better. And he's got good determination. He can play up there. So we'll see. So these are our best attacking players. Now, Sveen, just based on off the ball, is slightly better than Carbon, 10 versus 9. But you can see the rest of the stats for Carbon are much better. This difference of 1, I think, is more than made up for. We've got a distance of 3 here, 3 here, 5 here. They're equal, 2 there, 5 there. Here we lose a little bit on acceleration. So he's going to break away from the pack a little bit more, Sveen is. First touch is very similar. Composure is very similar, but then we have a big jump for finishing. These are essentially the same, and then crossing's a little bit lower for Carbon, and good teamwork for both. So, and bravery. So when you get mixed in there with those defenders, are you going to back off? So we're kind of left with an issue. Where do we play them? Now, interestingly enough, Carbon is also one of our better supporting players. And so if we look at support duties, we actually see that Carbon's, because we're looking at off the ball, is pretty close, as is Sveen. In fact, Sveen only has, determination here. So either of these players can play support or attack. Now, because Carbon is a much better finishing, I see him more as an attacking player, and I see Sveen as more of a support player. And so all of that has led to this right here. This would be our ideal starting lineup if everybody was healthy and nobody was suspended. Okay, and then our subs, we got to turn on the rest of the players there on the filter. Our subs are here. So Carbon fills in either here or here. He makes actually a really good attacking midfielder. And we would put him on Shadow Striker as a personal role when we throw in there because he does have that 15 finishing. I don't know. Does he have any sort of long shot? And 10 long shot. So composure's a little bit low, but I think he'll be a good Shadow Striker. So defensive forward, whoever plays up here is going to be defensive forward on support, regardless of whether it's Carbon or Sveen. They both play support really well. Sveen does not have any sort of finishing ability, really. So I think that's how we play that. They support, and I believe his passing isn't... Well, his passing's not good either. His finishing's actually slightly better than his passing. But I think that's how we're going to run that at the moment. And we can maybe look here and see if we want to change that. So defensive forward, free kick taking's bad. Most of these are okay here. Strength is low, that's an issue. Whereas target man, we can't do. He'll do poacher. And maybe that's what we end up with. Maybe we just go straight attacking poacher on both of them. I don't know. We'll have to think about it. I mean, clearly, just by the numbers, because we take advantage of that acceleration and agility, you know what? I don't necessarily have a huge problem with that. My thought was, because Dolly actually generates, let's go back to squad, and let's go to, let's make sure we're on attack. Here I have actual goals and chances on there. Sven actually 6 goals, 3 chances. Where is Dolly? 5 chances, 0 goals. Maybe we're better off putting Sven on attack regardless. I tell you what, and we may change this as we go, let's put him on a poacher on attack because he likes it. He's good at it, more or less. We'll take advantage of that acceleration. Physicals can mean a lot here at this level. If that's 3 attacking players on a counter, 4 attacking players on a counter. We're going back to support. I talked myself into it. It's just too many attacking players. We need to have somebody that's defending a little bit. And because I have these 3 attacking, because they're all really good attacking players, we're going to leave him on support for the moment. So Carbon is the main sub there. So whoever's having a bad day, we put him in. He plays as a shadow striker here. He plays as a defensive forward here. In our midfield, on the wings, we've got Pellegrino. He can play either side. He prefers to be an attacking midfielder, but he's got the stats to play those. Ingebrigtsen can also play all 3 of these positions. I have him primarily as a sub for these 2, which is what I'm thinking. So Pellegrino for here, Ingebrigtsen for here, but Ingebrigtsen could play all of them if need be. Herkstall I have as our defensive right sub, but Herkstall is a pretty versatile too, and he can also play here. So he can cover 3 spots there. Hovik is our primary center defender at the moment. Haagensen will be that when he comes back healthy. And Simonsen is our primary guy here, and he can play left or center. So he can play either side. And Hovik can play essentially anywhere here in the middle as well. So we've got a lot of support essentially in the middle here. Really, Valoy is probably our least supported because essentially Pellegrino is the only one that can fill in there. But essentially that's what I did. I walked through those stats. I kind of put numbers together. I kind of pulled out who are best support, who are best attacking, who are best defensive, and decided where we could get them on the field and how we were going to do that. And that's what's led to this. Now, I do have Mueller in as our backup as opposed to Sansor. I'd kind of like to bring down Sansor's... he no longer dislikes me. Okay, I actually have 1 player who supports me and only 6 who oppose me. So as opposed to 14 or 16 or whatever opposed me initially, and no support. So we are getting there. And Sansor no longer actively opposes me, which is nice. But I was trying to kind of lower him down a little bit. So that's our squad. I think we'll be okay. It is what it is. We can go back to custom main squad view. I added a couple things in here. I added chances per 90 minutes. And we can see here that Rune is still, again, our top chance creator. Take that back. I lied. We have a 1.2. Carbon's actually our top chance creator. We saw that he hadn't created as many chances, but if we looked at chances per 90 minutes, Carbon actually does create more. He just hasn't gotten as many games. I don't believe as Rune has 11 games versus 8 games. So that's the difference. I've got assists, player of the match, and goal mistakes. And of course, we just have the 1, or mistakes made off a goal is what that is. So we kind of added a few extra little things on our main stat there, as well as our rating. Now, if we look here to kind of see who's been playing well, that got left off the starting list, really Haagensen's the only one, and that's because he's injured. Everybody else here, he's actually playing for another team. He's on loan. We're not bad. None of these players have played horrible, but they haven't played great. And you can see up here, other than Osthagen, everybody else has looked like they've done pretty good. Valoy's not been great either, but we're going to say that hopefully these were more due to the fact that they just weren't playing in an ideal formation, that we weren't playing to their strengths now that we are. Fingers crossed. He's only played 2 starts and 4 subs, so we haven't given him a lot of time, and Osthagen's the same, 3 and 3. And we can see Bourbon only got 3 as well. But he's made the most of it. He's played okay. I expect more this probably than this. 7-1 versus 6-3, but we're just going to have to see how that goes. I do like that. And we got that by click. Oh, that's under reports. Is that form? Form. How about analysis? No, we got to do by match. I found a little bit of a bug. We're not going to click it here. If you actually choose one of these matches, the sound kicks in like there's a game going. And it does not go off till you play your next game. Never goes away. So let's not click that. Okay, so we do have to make one sub for next game because Monson is out. That means Ingebrigtsen, who I believe is our primary sub at that spot, comes in. And we're going to go ahead and... Kondu, can he play defensive midfielder by chance? He cannot. Johansson can play a bunch of places. Wingback, midfielder, and attacking. He can play all the way up on the right. We have got Simonson some playtime. We'll go ahead and put him in. He's not really the ideal sub to replace that, but we don't have an ideal sub to replace that. I guess we could put Borko in. He can at least play mid. No, I think we've got enough people that we can put in there if we need to. So I'm going to hit continue a few days. We're going to find out what's going to happen with Mr. Herkstall. And then we'll be back for the next game. So we'll see if he accepts that or not. Are you done barking? All right, guys, welcome back. We're still a day away, but I thought we'd go ahead and take a look at this really fast. Now, we do still have a little bit of brown here. I will say that my best position that we've been running the last few games cleaned up this a little bit more. It was a little bit more green. But the bonus that we see here is just how green our defense is now, because that was not the case before. We had a fair amount of brown back here before. Now we've got just a little bit here. I think that's because we're running him on an attack defense role. Defender left, suitability. He's on support, whereas these guys are on defend all the way. And we also are losing a little bit up here. He is on attack, but I don't know, maybe because he's on support, it covers a little bit more than here. That's definitely why this case, he's not going to drop back as quickly to protect this area, and we've only got the one person in the middle there. Whereas if we ran two people in the middle here, we'd see more green here, and then our red would, or our brown would be kind of up in these areas. But you can see here we've got a nice clean line up. Got nice and green there. We can pass the ball up there. We do have a little bit of a gap there because of that, but we can go like this if we need to. So hopefully that means that we have all the transition periods that we need to go up and also to go back. We'll just have to see how that goes. As far as the team goes, whatever the heck his name is, Herkstall signed a new contract with us. A offer came in for Borko. I accepted it. Accepted the offer. So let me show you the inbox here, how this went. Let's come back a few days. Borko. I bet you if we can we just try Bork? Okay, so Skedin made an offer. I accepted it. Borko's not happy here. He's not really in my plans. We accepted it. We said he's not in our first team plans. Let him go. So then after that, Borko looks to force a way to move. I was like, that's fine, whatever. If he doesn't want to be here, we'll let him go. Well, isn't that going to mean everyone on your team wants to leave? I said, no, I'm not going to force him to be here. That's stupid. So prepared to allow him to go. So then that says, okay, you are promising that he'll be sold. Well, I've just sold him. It already happened. I've already accepted the offer. So the order that these things happen is just asinine. He's already been sold. It shouldn't be a promise. I've accepted it. And then what happens? He turns down their offer. After all of that, he turns down the offer. I made him available. I put him on my not needed list. Nobody wants him. Nobody wants him. We may end up just dumping him. And I wouldn't feel bad about it. I would not feel bad about it. Anyway, we did what we could. We're going to hand this briefing over to the assistant coach. Because we actually were beginning to get partnerships up for the 3 games that we played pretty quickly with the other one because everybody was really well suited. Everybody essentially was a bright green dot because that's how we played them. That's how we built that one, was to make sure that everybody was as many people as possible were a bright green dot. So we're just going to hand that one over. So maybe this will take a little bit longer. But tactically, you know, we're not that far off. Familiarity is already okay. Tempo. Oh, instructions. Play out defense. We're not going to make mistakes back here, except for Bourbon. His passing sucks, so we have him locked down. So less risky passes is what we've done to him. So he's going to make even shorter passes, regardless of which side he plays at. Whipped crosses, because we don't really have a lot of jumping ability or heading ability up here, regardless of who's in there. We're going to do whipped crosses. We're going to throw them in. We're going to rely on kind of, you know, we're just going to make it hard for them to intercept. Maybe some of those go through, maybe some of them don't. We'll see how it goes. Because we don't have a huge amount of acceleration and pace to recover, I want people to stay on their feet. If our tackling is not great and our acceleration isn't great, so I don't want us to go to the ground trying to tackle somebody and not be able to get back. So we're going to stay on our feet. We're going to use tighter marking, because at this level of football, you can force people into mistakes if you do some tighter marking. It's just what it is. It has more to do with the opposition than to do with our abilities, and it has more to do with the level of opposition rather than any specific opposition. And we're going to lower the tempo, because we're not really runners. So we're going to slow things down. We're going to try not to make mistakes, because our first touch isn't great. And we're going to hopefully, it may not be the world's most exciting football to watch. Granted, but let's see if it gets us 4 points out of every 3 games, and lets us get beyond that. And then we can see about maybe swapping some players, improving a little bit. We had money this year. We just couldn't talk anybody into taking it. I mean, that was really the issue. So we'll just have to kind of play it. So today we've got Follo. They're 11th. Our second. Well, I'll play 2 matches in a row. You won't see the other one until tomorrow, because this video's already been long enough. By the way, it took about 8 minutes to go through those 5 days with the extra little press conference and stuff. Carbon is just about back and ready. Capable, but not back, right? So we see match sharpness is still a little bit low, but that's okay. Condition's not 100 yet, and Simonson's still a bit low. Simonson was one of those people. Simonson and Johansson were I think those were the two that I was kind of surprised that I've been getting playtime that don't really figure into this. Simonson's going to be a backup on the left. Johansson just kind of fell out. I'm assuming, and we're going to do a quick save here because we need to. I'm assuming it's because his just off the ball and position's not very good. We'll be back as soon as the save's done. Okay, we're going to submit the team. Yeah, we got some players that aren't quite ready. They haven't got quite as much matches as we wanted. So we'll see how that goes. Oh my gosh, the volume is super loud here. Let's turn that down. One of these days I'll remember to go in and just turn down volume for this, this game. So that, in fact, we're going to do it right now. Whoops, that's not what I want. I want mixer. I'm going to go turn that down a bit. All right, hopefully that adjusts everything so I could put the main volume up where I listen to all my videos and then bring the game volume down, and I hopefully skipped that for you. So this is us, this is them. Not a huge amount of difference. We're dropping one guy back, so we're going to play a little bit more defensive than they are, and that's fine. We're going to hand this over to the assistant. Go out there and impress me. Let's go ahead and turn that on, and let's go. Let's see what happens. Oh, let's slow this down again. When you guys aren't here, I tend to play slightly faster. How about there? Key highlights. Replays. One of mine, the replays turned off, which let's turn on red cards. And disallowed goals. Oh no, we don't need replays of disallowed goals. We'll that's fine. Okay, let's go there. All right, and we'll see how this pays off or doesn't pay off. I mean, I really don't know at this point. They're just in their straight formation initially. Okay, so the first highlights us. Dolly on a corner. That makes sense. Bourbon was unable to get to that one. We may have to look at our heading because Bourbon is not a great header, despite the fact he got a goal last time. As they charge on the counterattack. Puts it wide. anyway, so we may have to look at who our headers are on the team now that we've kind of rejiggered everything. We may not want that defensive center guy up there trying to get the headers now because I say he's not as good at it, which is an issue. I generally like my center defenseman to be good in the air. Above and beyond my tackling and my marking. And in this case, we are ranking that a little bit higher. It's just below positioning. So we'll have to see how that goes. Maybe I'll change my mind. Ingebrigtsen puts it back to Carlisle. Try to play this back in. Helmvet back into the center. We are going to mostly attack up the center. Sveen out to Berg. Sveen charging, but Rune is there, and Rune puts it away, and there we go. We do have Rune as a inside... it's not an inside forward. Whatever we call that. Inverted wing. Something like that. So he will cut inside because he is... he's right... He's on the opposite side of his foot, so as he comes across, you know, that foot's on there. That's the idea anyway. So we will take it. First goal. First goal to us. So we need a win here to kind of balance us out. After 9 matches, we were 3-3-3. So we were right where I said we needed to be. So maybe screwing with tactics is a bad idea. You know, although that I think did include some of the other formation I was playing. But, you know, that's where we need to be. One of each every 3 games will put us where we need to be. Dolly, another corner in. Grandal's back. Rune's got that. Rune comes in, takes a nice shot at it. Actually is on target and right up the middle, and unfortunately it was right up the middle. And the goalie read it. Helmvet gets that beautifully up to Valoy. Berg. Mamishi manages to intercept that. All right. And they kind of take their time as they start to play it up. Rachmani there up to Reddick. We get a head on it. Carlisle does. It kind of bounces around a little bit. Vedwick puts it wide. Puts it wide. Looks like it was on target. 18 probably would have got there. They're beginning to look a little bit nervous. That's good. We're right at halftime. They haven't really managed to put up much of an attack. Pozo looks like he's getting tired. Strangston's got a yellow. So we're beginning to take a toll on their team. And in theory, we're at halftime now. We're just waiting on it to actually decide we can go to halftime. There we go. Slight lead in shots. 6 of our shots have been on target. That's spectacular. I like that. They've doubled us up on fouls. I like that. We don't have any yellows, and we've had possession. That's all good. I think we just say keep it up. I think that's fine. Carlisle hasn't had a great game, but again, Carlisle's numbers are always low, but he still is our best defenseman, even with those numbers. You know, a 6'5" for him is better than a 6'9" for everybody else. I mean, it just is. It's like we grade him on a different scale because he's so much better. But in the middle here, we're looking great. 7-7-3, 7-3. Now, there's an assist and a goal in there. So, yeah, I just say we keep doing what we're doing. See how this formation continues to work? That's not bad. 9 shots on goal for, with a lower pace. I don't know what the heck happened there. I thought we had it, but then somehow Salmani actually had it, even though and beautiful shot, top right corner. Vedvik has been horrible all game, but that one he manages to put away. And we really do need a win out of this, I think. You know, they're in 11th place. This is a team we should beat. This is a team we should beat, right? There's, 14 teams? So 14, 13, 12 go. 11th, we need to be above, We were in 9th coming into this. Now, granted, we're probably not going to drop too far. And we might want to put up rankings, where we are in the league up on the screen next time we get a chance. Let's go ahead and do Get Creative. In fact, let's go ahead and do that now. Can we do that now? Oh no, it gave us a replay for some reason. It didn't go to a highlight, it went to a replay. I don't know. Maybe there was an injury there. Not getting much done. I'm going to go ahead and sub. I'm going to try to put Carbon in for Dolly. Let's see how that... Oh, man, I hate losing his... I'm going to put him in for Sveen. I really want to see him as a shadow striker, but I really, in a close match like this, I don't want to lose his set piece abilities. Is anybody else? Well, I say Carlisle's been a little bit weak, but we're going to leave him in because we clearly don't have anybody better for him. And I think that's just kind of Oosthagen's having a bad game. Herkstall should be there. Herkstall just signed a new contract. Let's throw him in there. Hit confirm and play, and we'll see how things go. Dolly, there we go. It's a good reason we've left him in here. Although it didn't come to anything, but will we bring him back over? Can he get a cross in? Ingebrigtsen, oh, there we go, Valoy, yes! Valoy gets in there. Hasn't had a great game so far, but that makes up for a lot. That puts us up to 4th position, so 10th to 4th with that one goal. It really does make a huge difference. Everything is so tight right now. I forgot to point that out, I meant to. Kind of from the last non-relegation spot up to maybe 3rd, I think there's like a 3-point gap. It's just insanely close. Number 1's running away from it, and number 14 is still within a lead of a couple spots up, or a game within a couple spots. But I think even if they were to win a game and everybody else were to lose one, they'd still be in a relegation spot. They'd go from 14th to 11th. So essentially the top and the bottom are beginning to separate themselves. Everybody else is super tight. We just need to hold on for 4 minutes here, and we will... Hopefully this is going to be for us and not for them. Shots have really equaled up, but 8 of ours have been on target. The only one of theirs that has been was the goal. We have had 4 half chances. They've had 3. We've had possession. Come on, Rune. Get this one out of the way. Carbon over to Berg. We can take our time on this as far as I'm concerned. We can waste time if we can get it out away from them. Don't lose it. Herkstall boots it up to Rune. That's fine. That wastes time. Make them play it all the way back from the corner here. They're going to go back to their goalie. He kicks it hard. Vedvik's the only one there waiting. Skaug, everybody else dropped back. Herkstall, beautiful interception though, boots that back up. I'm hoping this is just a long delayed end final play of the half, or of the match here. They're just kind of desperately booting it up, and we've been, for the most part, just kind of putting it back up the net, and that's it. That's game. We win 2-1 with the new tactic. I know it was a long video. Hopefully it was worth it for you. Got kind of seen the inside of how I do this. I do like to play with tactics, and I do love the stats of this game so much. And tactics are probably a bigger part of lower league than upper league, because in some ways it's pushed on you more. You don't have as much creative freedom, but you have to figure out how to unlock the abilities that your team does have. Whereas at upper league, the guys are just so good. It's more a choice of personal preference, right? The guy can do kind of a lot of different things. It's more of a team-on-team thing, whereas this is more trying to find spots that individuals will actually be able to do rather than a team-wide philosophy, I guess, if that makes sense. Anyway, we came out of that with the win. Let's go ahead and tell them that we're happy with that, and I am happy. That was a good win. We needed to win that, but realistically, those are closely matched teams. So, Lynn in control, Follo brush side. I think we dominated that despite the score. We're probably going to see close matches with this tactic, but hopefully they're going to be close matches that we win, not close matches that we lose. Post-match, we're going to let the assistant do that. And let's go ahead and take a look at the overall competition level now. So that was Follo. They are still down in 11th here, but you can see here, 11. We had a little bit of separation here, but still, 11 to 4th, 4 points. Right? That's it. That's the difference from here to here. So relegation to 4th place, 4 points. Now, we're a loss away, or we're no longer a loss away from dropping down. We can see here Sonya and HamCam to some extent now, especially if we beat them next match, are beginning to pull themselves out of the running, because they're both more than a win away of getting out of relegation. Whereas Brodvog is just crushing everybody. They're running away with it. Kielhas is the only one close, and they are close, 2 points ahead. But clearly, this is the class of the league right now, and this is everybody else. So from 12th to 3rd is still only 7 points. So really, really close. This is the first week that it's begun to separate. Anyway, hope you come back for the next match. We will play, I think it's HamCam is what I said. Yeah, it is HamCam. So we'll play that on the road, and then we'll play a couple matches without you. So that'll be tomorrow morning. All right? Thanks. Cheers.